Matter of fact, let's just make this simple and plain. I grab this, they won't remember his name. He'll be past tense. Literally go from Ave to memory lane. First.
You forgot about the little nine. That thing be going crazy. And since Charlie bit me, there's one finger on the bait.
Facts. Y'all might have to play this back, but when you piece it all together, those are the type of lines that created smack. So
Why is NOME one of the most anticipated cards of the year? Is it the track record? Is it the big names it garners? Is it one of the best battle rap traditions in the spring season? The answer is an emphatic yes to all of them. We are awaiting to see history, culture-shifting moments, and a changing of the guard dynamic between a few battlers. Welcome to the Speak Our Language Show, and welcome back to another installment of A Tale of Two Journeys, the NOME 14 edition. T-Top is rejuvenated and has completely one-upped his previous year with masterful performances against Chef Trez, Snake Eyes, and Gemini. This is easily his best work of the decade, and he's looking to maintain that momentum for the next 6 months. However, there are peaks and valleys in his NOME encounters. He has struggled to assemble a win on NOME in a 1v1 exchange for some time. He's also standing before one of the most bar-heavy guys he could face in a seemingly smaller setting. T-Top has shown prowess on a big stage, but he's also a killer in a small room. While he matches up well against Danny Myers with his angles, charisma, and rapping ability, he has stylistically one of the toughest matches on the card. Knowing that the battle is over 4 years in the making, T-Top will have a lot to handle. The question is whether he will be proficient in his approach and remind others why he was deemed a top 5 angler of all time. While he has beaten people with a bar-for-bar approach this year, he may have to utilize a well-rounded approach. T-Top would establish himself as one of the best active battlers today and also built one of his first legitimate major campaigns for Champion of the Year. Although the race is still wide open, a clear win over Danny on NOME is an amazing talking point going into the discussion. Danny's year has been quite a 180. Typically, he starts the year off with a hot streak of notable wins. This time around, he has started the year with 2 notable losses from Sharon and Myverse, the latter being one of the biggest upsets of the year thus far. But if you follow Danny's career long enough, you'll know these 2 things. 1, he doesn't really have losing streaks. And 2, he typically shows up against the big names. With this being his first URL card since Traffic 6 and also his first major battle since 2022, he is for sure amped up and primed to have an electric performance. When you throw in the EFB dynamic, you could see a Danny we haven't seen in a while. He'll be looking to set the tone for the night and give his counterparts a boost. Considering that there aren't many high-profile matches left for Danny, he has to make great use of this plate. Danny would have another high-profile win to the resume and also build some real momentum behind this year. It has been rumored that battles like him and Ilmac could occur. Not only could a win over T-Top on NOME expedite the process, but it could also give him a great boost for the rest of the year, as he would be on pace to make his 7th consecutive Cody appearance. Swamp graduated to top tier 2 years ago after his first NOME appearance in the UM5 finals. His 2023 wasn't the most eventful as he didn't have as many big matchups besides his amazing battle with Chef Trez. This year, Swamp is looking to pick up where he left off in 2022. With a career-defining win over Averb, his momentum is back in a good spot, but he's also facing another person who has great momentum, Miss Hustle. This would be the second time that he's been in a 1v1 intergender battle, and hopefully he's learned from the first encounter. Ironically enough, the last instance was very similar as he caught a clear win versus New Jersey Twerk and got caught slipping by KCJ on the next card. This time around, Swamp is looking to show his growth and ability to beat all greats regardless of the circumstances provided. However, his opponent transcends just being one of the best competitors amongst the women. Swamp could reaffirm his top tier status by beating the reigning Wody and having 2 back-to-back wins on the biggest names in the culture. Then, all of a sudden, we could be talking about Calico on SM and the Goods battle to close out the year. The opportunities are endless when you perform well on these NOME events, and Swamp really could put together another great year that forces more top tiers to step out. As one of the first ever ladies to battle on NOME, she is well primed for this matchup and is extremely reliable when it comes to output. And as the reigning Wody, she has all eyes on her. Even more so because there's two other Wodies on the card. Miss Hustle is not only looking to beat Swamp, a person she's called out for about a year, but she's also trying to have the best performance on the card, like she typically does. This is by far the best stretch of Hustle's career when you consider how many wins she was able to compile, the accolades she's acquired, and how much her skill set has advanced. She is a heavy favorite because of her track record against the men and the lack of clear losses she has taken in years. Hustle will want nothing more than to outshine her battle rap adversaries. A dominant win over Swamp could very well enable that outcome to happen. This would also build even further anticipation for the long-awaited Jazz and Hustle rematch, which could be a very consequential match for the Wody of this year. With Hustle's winner mentality, I'm for certain that she's looking to be the first ever back-to-back Wody in battle rap history. Jess the Rapper has been relatively quiet this year, following her impressive performance over Bizzo Bond and her being ranked third on Wody. She's aiming to have a major statement against the lady who was ranked right above her. Jazz was heavily critiqued for her performances last year and her match selections. It seems to me that Jazz is motivated to hush the critics and take on one of the most dangerous ladies at one of the best events of the year. There's a lot riding on this match, but Jazz is no stranger to high-pressure situations. The last time Jazz was in a high-profile matchup against a female counterpart, she had the performance of the year. Jazz is ready to add another one of those to her collection. Not only would the critics have to bow out, but once again the match between Hustle and Jazz becomes bigger. Coffee Brown is the front runner at the moment when it comes to Wody. She has wins over Arsenal, Jade, and a really good battle against E-Heart. If Jazz shows clear separation between her and Coffee, that changes the landscape of the Wody runnings, as Jazz would propel to the top. As I mentioned before, the Road Warriors continued her path this year as she is the clear frontrunner for Wody as we speak. This is not only Coffee's biggest match, but is also one of the most important, all things considered. This is her first time on NOME and the biggest card she's ever been a part of, but she's no stranger to uncharted territories, as she has a knack for pulling off wins in the most unlikely circumstances, which is why no one should count her out in this battle. One of the most intangible things you can't measure in this sport is heart, but there's also motivation and inspiration. Coffee has all the motivation and inspiration in the world to come out victorious. However, this will be Coffee's hardest match and she'll have to be exceptional, but I'm pretty sure she's aware of what she needs to do. I've seen her pull off upsets before against people like T-Top and Geechee Gotti. If I'm being fully transparent though, I still think Coffee beating Jazz would be a major upset. Not only would that put her in position to maintain her spot in the Wody runnings, but she would be in a completely different conversation amongst the stars in the culture. Fonz is a bona fide star in the making, and it doesn't take much to notice this in the work he provides. His dominant 2023 and his performance against Chef Trez furthers that claim and enables him to have the ability to call out the barrage of top tiers he's called out. The one who is answering the call is Geechee Gotti, which is never a layup for any person. While I do think Fonz has already proved he's top tier, matches like these are still important because you can distinguish where a person sits amongst the elites. Fonz is easily one of the most dangerous battlers to face right now. However, the thing about battling various top tiers is the different styles you see in every battle, and Geechee Gotti has one of the most authentic styles you can face. Fonz has openly expressed his desire to leap in the Cody race, and he's trying to make Geechee a part of his campaign. Not only does Fonz get the leap he's looking for if he wins, but he'll also see other top tiers in succession. Names like John Adam, Tay-Rock, and Miss Hustle will be in the foreseeable future, and Fonz will have no choice but to back up the talk he's been providing. And honestly, he's done a pretty solid job in doing that so far. Geechee Gotti's name will always belong on big cards because of its ability to consistently provide moments, push his opponents to be great, and sell a match. But this matchup is quite different. In the past few years, his NOME encounters were against other all-time greats. This time, he's doing the honors and providing a shot for a guy who was in the position he was in 6 to 7 years ago. Geechee Gotti has an on and off switch when it comes to being in kill mode, but on these big cards and big moments, the kill switch is barely off. And as a student of the game, he understands that Fonz is trying to make an example out of the 3-time champion of the year. But Geechee will never let you outright level up on him. With his ability to neutralize and be well-rounded, he can always steal a win. Not to mention, Geechee is known to play possum at times, and hopefully Fonz doesn't fall for the trick. Funny enough, Geechee has admitted that he hasn't been 100% in most of his recent battles, but he hasn't taken a clear loss this year. As a person who understands what it takes to be Cody, he's always in the talks. And if the Hitman battle is indeed scheduled for this year, Geechee could build another campaign for belt number 4. Before I start, I just have to say this. Tay-Rock is the most experienced on this card when it comes to NOME and in general. With over 10 appearances in this series, he has seen almost every style, skill set, and stage. However, this matchup will still be important with what Rock is trying to accomplish. With him gunning for the Cody belt, he's taking every battle personally and with full effort, and he will need the same full effort in his encounter versus Jerry West. This battle may be one of the tougher matches Tay-Rock will have, considering how well rested Jerry is and what the battle means to Jerry. However, Rock never gets easy matches. Rock is conditioned for the battle and he's a heavy favorite, as he should be. While Jerry West doesn't sit at the top of Rock's large resume, a win on NOME versus a good competitor furthers the gap between himself and his counterparts. The last time I spoke with Jerry was before his DNA encounter, and he put us all on notice afterward. I have to admit that Jerry has ascended in every battle since his return in 2022. While I still think it's reasonable to have him as an underdog in this encounter, I don't think it's knowledgeable to assume that he can't rise to the occasion, especially since he did it just last year. I honestly think we're going to see another great Jerry West performance. However, will it match up well against a great Tay-Rock performance? We'll have to find out. If Jerry West is the one to stop Rock's streak, that would be a humongous feat, and I don't think the dialogue of whether Jerry is top tier or not should exist anymore. No one has ever gotten a win on DNA and SM, and Rock on NOME. It doesn't happen for a reason. Jerry West won Upset of the Year last year, and this may be a candidate for this year if he pulls it off. And the one we've all been waiting for, Loaded Lux versus Rum Nitty. I'm going to talk about both sides simultaneously because there's a lot to unpack. In my opinion, this is one of the most important matchups in the past few years. It changes the landscape and dialogue between penmanship, the new era versus the old era, etc., etc. But the real beauty behind this match is that Loaded Lux is not favored to win in this battle. And honestly, I never thought this would be a situation Lux would be in. While it may be heavily predicated on his performance versus Geechee Gotti and the long hiatus he took, it's still pretty noteworthy that Lux is in this predicament. I honestly think this is dangerous for Nitty. The hardest thing to do is beat an all-time great, but it's even harder when they feel like they have something to prove. You add in the fact that Nitty may push Lux spin further, and we could be talking about some pretty amazing things we could hear and see. Although I've been extremely critical of Lux in the past, I'm grateful that he decided to battle another pin-heavy opponent, especially one of the newer generation. Not only do I think that this will show us who is greater among the two, but it will also push both combatants to be great. The stakes in this battle are insurmountable for both sides. For Nitty, he can establish his status as being the greatest writer in battle rap. He's faced the likes of JC, Av, Iron Solomon, Beat Magic, Chilla Jones, New Jersey Twerk, Ilmac, Fonz, O-Red, Danger Zone, Danny Myers, Big K, Official, Jazz, and B-Dot. And all those people were great punchers, great anglers, or great all-around writers. On top of this, his track record against those names were incredible. More often than not, you're going to see a good to great battle when Nitty is a part of it. It's even more certain when the person standing in front of him specializes in the same compartment he does. And when you look at the battles I just named, him versus Av, classic battle. Him versus Danny, classic battle. New Jersey Twerk, Ilmac, Fonz, great battles. He's cataloged some of the best collection of battles out of any person in the culture. He's already an all-time great, but beating Lux could potentially make him the greatest to ever do it. And when you take a look at the other side, Lux is the reason why we developed and coined the phrase pin in battle rap. I'm not a huge fan of going back many years to build a case for a battler, but I do think it's worth mentioning that Lux has the most timeless performance against Midwest Miles, one of the most well-structured rounds against Calico, and one of the best battles in battle rap history. And this all stems from his prowess as a writer. A win over Nitty doesn't just hush the critics, but it also enables Lux to maintain that he's the greatest writer in battle rap and the best battler in battle rap. Who doesn't want to have that status? Are the expectation levels high? Yeah, absolutely. And it may not even be fair, but look at the people we're talking about. I honestly don't think this battle will be debatable. I think there will be a clear winner on either side. While they are very similar, there are distinct things that separate them, and that will be the deciding factor for the outcome. Thank you guys for watching the video. I really appreciate it. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and also comment some of your predictions for NOME 14. How great do you guys think this card will be? I think it's going to be exceptional, and I honestly think that if it isn't exceptional, then it's a letdown. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.